School Board meeting to order. Roll call, Ms. Cindy.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Mr. Mangus?
Present.
Mr. Toller?
Here.
Mr. Westmoreland?
Present.
Miss Abrams?
Here.
Miss Richards?
Present.
Mr. Duncan?
Here.
Miss Simmons?
Here.
Mr. Bush?
Present.
If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Tom.
Yes, tonight I've asked my daughter Darby if she would come up, one of our students from Roseland, and lead us in the pledge.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Darby.
At this time, we're going to have a patriotic song that is honoring Miss Cotton that passed away recently. Her family can't be here with us tonight, but we would like to do this in her honor.
Is it a Star Spangled Banner?
If everybody could please stand.
Mr. President, may I say just something?
Sure, go ahead.
That was our pep rally two years ago, and something just told me to take out my phone and video this lady singing that national anthem. And I dug it back out again when I heard that she passed away, and I bet you I've listened to that song 100 times in the last 2 months. And so it just does my heart good to see that was our school system in the stands as one united group of people pulling together. And excuse my language, but it seemed like we've been through hell since that day with the virus and the hurricane. So maybe we'll get some unity back built here in this system, and we'll get back to normal. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm sure Miss Cotton is in heaven singing with those angels now, and that's right where she belongs, to be able to give praise up in heaven. She deserves all the glory tonight.
That's right.
All right, we're going to move on to D, consider approval of the board minutes from September of '21.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Tom, second by Ms. Sandra. Go ahead and call for a vote, Ms. Cindy.
Voting is open. Yes, by Mr. Moore. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Moving on to recognitions, we'd like to recognize Miss Evelyn Brumfield that's celebrating her 100th birthday. Miss Janice?
Come on, Big Mama. Certification of recognition to Evelyn Broomfield. Tangipahoa Parish School Board would like to express an admiration for you reaching an extraordinary milestone, your 100th birthday. May this celebration be a joyful reminder of a century of living life right and a happy addition to fond memories of birthdays past. Melissa M. Steele, Superintendent, Robin T. Abram, Board President, Janice Richards, District A, and your daughter, and the years that we came and was able to get my hair done and eat at the same time from Big Mama. We want to say we love you.
Mr. Duncan, lead him in happy birthday. She should. You could do it. Who? Who is it? Who? Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, but the cameras have changed on all these years.
Miss Janice, we need to sing happy birthday. You have to lead us.
Oh. That's Brenda. She said we gotta sing happy birthday. Happy birthday
To you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Miss Brumfield. Happy birthday to you. And many more.
Thank you.
Moving on to our next recognition, Miss Matter from Ponchatoula Junior High School as Senate District 6 Teacher of the Year. Mr. Bush?
Yes, I'm gonna read a little something that give you a brief recap about what happened. Senator Bodie White, who represents District 6, which is part of Tangipahoa, Livingston, St. Helena, and East Baton Rouge Parish. And I'm not sure how many years he's done this, but I spoke to Senator White, I think in March or April. If he could have been here, he would have, but of course Hurricane Ida put this way back. Brianne Mader, I talked to Miss Mader today, and before I read this, what's going on, she taught my stepson in last year, who had a basic, I'm just letting you know, and what did he make this year? He went from a basic to an advanced. He loved her class, and he's a handful, right, Miss Corvetta? He loved her class, and so I think that's about the best form of praise you can give a teacher. Now, not all students do that, but he thought your class was wonderful. So, Senator White, thank you for your hard work and dedication to the children of our great state, Senator Bodie White. He also made a resolution 144 in the Senate, in the State Senate of Louisiana. And let me read you some of these schools who won this award. Central High School, Central High School, Central Middle School, Central Middle School, Tanglewood Elementary School, Central Middle School. Senator White is from East Baton Rouge Parish. And I'm not saying anything, but when it comes to junior high school, our own Brianne Mader was Teacher of the Year from Senator White, Senate District 6, from Ponchatoula Junior High School. And congratulations, you've earned every bit of it. And I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but to commend the Teacher of the Year from schools in Senate District 6 for dedicated service on Teacher of the Year Day in the Louisiana Senate. Whereas excellence in teaching is a result of commitment, dedication, inspiration, patience, creativity, hard work, and the highest order of professional integrity. And research clearly demonstrates that teachers are the paramount to students' achievement, and it has been estimated that a teacher has 2 or 3 times the impact of any other school factor. Teacher of the Year programs were created as a means to publicly honor and recognize the role of instructional excellence and ensuring student success in school and in life. And the outstanding teachers of Teacher of the Year located in my district, Senator Bodie White, Senate District 6, is Brianne Mader, Ponchatoula Junior High School. Congratulations again.
Right, like this? Well, the one thing that I would love to say about Brian Mader is that there are very few teachers who reach this pinnacle, but she scored a perfect 4.0 VAM score when our scores were going through, and her students are just high achievers. Like you're saying, Mr. Bush, they can start from basic. Their growth to mastery is always phenomenal. I would also say that Brianne's strength is her strength. That if you are in her classroom or if you work beside her, you will know that she is consistent. She is confident in what she teaches. She is so confident that she actually wrote the curriculum that the parish is using for 7th grade social studies. So she's also very knowledgeable about her subject matter. You walk past her room, you're laughing. It's always quiet and calm, and she is calm. Even if there's a storm all around her, Brianne doesn't get flustered. And that's so important for kids at the junior high level. And it's so important as an administrator that I can walk past a room that's in control, that learning is taking place every day, and that she's always encouraging and confident and just an active part of everything going on our campus. So she is very well deserving of this honor. Thank you.
Mr. Bush.
I don't want to mess this picture up.
That's what everybody says.
Thank you.
One, two, three. We're trying to get one of that. Thank you.
And I think she has some of her family, so you want to introduce them?
My second grader, Natalie, my senior, Haley, and it's my mom, Catherine.
Thank you for being here.
Congratulations once again. We're moving on to our committee reports. Capital Outlay Committee of the Whole from October 5th, 2021. Can I get a motion to accept?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. Westmoreland? And then Ms. Janice, second. Call for a vote, Ms. Cindy?
Voting is open. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Moving on to B, Finance Committee Report from October 5th, 2021.
Motion to adopt.
Motion by Mr. Westmoreland, second by Mr. Mingus. Call for a vote, Ms. Cindy?
Voting is open. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Policy Committee of the Whole, October 5th, 2021.
Move to adopt.
Point of order, Madam President, point of order.
Yes, sir.
There were two policies that were tabled concerning discipline and I think it was dress code. Last time, I would just like to make a motion to have, just to make sure that the superintendent includes that in the next committee meeting that we hold, that we bring those policies back. So,
That'll be in our November 2nd
The
meeting.
motion that was adopted and as part of this report was that those policies were tabled to the next policy committee meeting. So they will be on our next agenda.
and I just went back and checked. I didn't know that was there for sure. So I just wanted to make sure that we did have that covered.
Okay, well, I want to, if that wasn't in the report that they were tabled to the next meeting, then it needs to be in the report.
It says it.
It says it in the
It says
motion.
it.
Is
Both
that,
of them.
is that November 2nd? Is that the next meeting?
Our
All
next meeting is November 2nd.
right, so Mr. Duncan made the motion of it, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Westmoreland. Call for a vote, Ms. Cindy?
Voting is open. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Moving on to 4, the academic update for the district instructional leadership team from Dr. Purcell.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. I just wanted to share with you all kind of a update on something we talked about this summer and kind of give you an overview of a best practice that we started at the district level. So if you remember this summer, or maybe it was early August before the storm and everything else happened, we talked about how we reorganized our schools into learning communities, which are professional learning communities, where we have a supervisor and we have those from each department on the team to just strengthen our support around schools by their grade bands. And I had them in a chart and they were color coded. So the district instructional leadership team meeting process I want to share with you is just how we at the district level have taken the best practice that's a non-negotiable for our schools. So we require our schools to have instructional leadership teams where the principal and key members of their school meet weekly to make plans around data, look at student work, so that when our teachers come to collaboration, they have a strong process. That's a best practice. It's a national best practice, and it's one that we've identified in our super app with LDOE as one we adopted in Tangipahoa Parish. So we thought at the district level, we need to be able to model what that best practice looks like, and we needed to make sure that that same professional learning community existed at the district level. So I'm just going to give you a little overview. We had our first meeting on Monday, October 11th. That was last Monday. Feels like a month ago. I don't know if it's a full moon or if it's just me, the weather, but it's been a long week. So this was our agenda. We set the purpose of our meeting.
It's Tuesday, isn't it?
Today's just Tuesday? Don't tell me that, Mr. Bush. It feels like Thursday at least. So first of all, the people who were invited were the directors, supervisors from various departments. Because I know you know one of Ms. Stilley's goals is always around communication. And one thing we find at the district level is sometimes we're so busy doing our jobs that we're just in our own little silo. So another best practice of having a district instructional leadership team is getting everybody in the room to kind of refocus on what is our purpose and how we all do our job. Because ultimately, everybody's job, whether you're in finance, whether you're in transportation, food service, academics, student services, technology, federal programs, is student achievement and student outcomes. So the purpose of this meeting, we focused on student work. And we set some group norms so that when we come together to meet, here's how we function together as a group. That's something our schools have done they've done this for years, but the last 2 years, we have really partnered with NIET to really strengthen our instructional leadership teams, because research shows that schools with instructional focused leaders have higher impact on student achievement. So we wanted to make that a best practice and a norm in our schools. So we did that. And then we went through the 5 steps. There are 5 steps to every instructional leadership meeting, and I'm just going to share an overview. So in our district, we established with NIET 3 big rocks that we work on. Every school in our district, every month, their learning community meeting is around one of these big rocks. So it's either shared instructional leadership, how to effectively distribute leadership, and then focusing on student work and data-driven decision-making. So this particular meeting, we focused on student data. These are the 2 questions that guided our meeting, our first district ILT. What student work samples or data can we look for to give us evidence that our students are progressing towards mastery? Because you can't set goals. If you remember that goal setting chart we talked about, I think maybe that was in August, and we had the non-negotiables out by it. Well, we have to know where we are to set those goals to reach mastery. And even those that are in departments that maybe don't touch the data every day, we wanted their eyes to see the data so that they could reflect on what can we do in our department, or what is the why behind what we're doing as a district, so that we can strengthen this process. And then ultimately, how will this meeting strengthen the ability of all of us to support excellence in instructional practices? So our outcome was, by the end of that meeting, the members would be able to understand and articulate the instructional priorities that we were implementing this school year, specifically to address how are we going to get our students to mastery. And you can see team roles, because it's important when you have any meeting for everybody to have a role so everybody stays on pace. And so this is where the 5 steps come in. So the first step of any instructional leadership meeting is the new learning piece. So our new learning was to actually look at student data. And the way our schools do this, and the way our teacher professional learning communities look, is somebody models that. So whoever leads our district meeting, they take us through how they think about whatever data they're looking at. So in this case, I did a think aloud around some of our student achievement data, and I just talked to myself like I was looking at the data, so that others in their department could then think about how they could look at data and ask questions that ultimately went around student achievement. So we did that as a group, and then they broke into groups for the next step, which we call development time. So in development time, all of our various folks that were at the meeting from different departments met in this very room in different sections, and they had a grade level set of data, and they had charts, and they had a data analysis chart to give them some guiding questions, and they just studied their grade level, their content, and then they made some conclusions together on their chart. So then they shared that. They had 2 questions. What were some wows and wonders about the data? And what were some examples of instructional support? Because as they were looking at the data, the next challenge they had was to go on our curriculum hub, our academic page, and look to see if they could find what we had there to address what are we doing to get kids to mastery. And it was all timed, and everybody had a role in their group. But what was interesting, and if I would have thought about this now, hindsight's 2020. By the way, I have a person from NIT who watches me lead the meeting, and then they coach and give reinforcement so we can strengthen our practice. So we have somebody coaching us so that we can then go coach the schools and make that process better. But what I wish I would have included were we had pictures, and we had pictures of the charts so that each time we meet, we can kind of remind ourselves of where we're going on this journey. So the next part, we had some new learning, they had some development time, then it was application time. And you had to do this by yourself. So you had your own chart, and you had to then say, all right, what are 2 actions I can do from what I learned today in my own role to support this work? So if I'm in human resources, I was thinking about the data now from a different perspective than the person who is maybe supporting the teacher or the principal. So we had a little chunk of time where you thought about that individually. And then, of course, we asked a few people to share out what those actions would look like. And then they received their assignment for the next meeting, which is, how are you going to monitor? Because you can sit there all day and write down 2 actions you're going to do. But the next step is, how are you going to make sure you go back and do that? How are you going to hold yourself accountable? And how are you going to re-deliver this to your department so that other people can experience? So it's a cascading best practice and process for how we want the district to know and share information, the learning communities to do that, each department to do that, principals to do that, and then in our teacher PLC. So that's kind of the overview of our district ILT meeting, and everybody had homework. You can see they have to bring back evidence of their identified actions and how we will measure that towards student achievement. We had some good examples that I'd be happy to share with you, but I will run on, and I don't want to do that. So any questions about this best practice or process? The first one, I'll tell you that on a state system call, Mr. Jinko and I we've presented on a couple, and this one was really interesting because they didn't have a district to present, but they just put it out there and they said, how are you at the district level modeling and adopting best practices? And so when we started to share, districts were like, some districts are getting there, some districts aren't, but because of our work with NIET and the structures we've had in our district, this was a great next step to strengthen all of our processes from the top down.
Dr. Fussell, I just want to say, both Mr. Jenko and I participated in the meeting, and the questions about what 2 things will, that self-time when you think about. I know I left out of this meeting, and within 2 days, I made 2 major actions based on what I saw in the data at that meeting that's making a dramatic impact on students. So I just want to thank you for leading us in this effort, because I know that there was others that in their departments and their silos that saw this and said, well, I can do this or that in my department and have an impact on students. So I just thought it was very eye-opening for me. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to the department updates. Consider approval of the 2022 graduation dates. Mr. Jenko.
Good evening. Thank you, Ms. Abrams. Ms. Tilley, good evening, everyone. I know it's hard to believe we're in the middle of October, talking about May 2022 already, but we will be there before you know it. We offer these dates, times, and locations for your approval for our 2022 graduations for our high schools.
I'll make a motion to accept these dates as presented.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Dominguez, second by Mr. Westmoreland. Are we absolutely certain that we're going to be able to have the graduations at the University Center this year?
Today on October 19th, yes, ma'am. I wish I could look into the future and tell you, but right now Southeastern is able to hold us. Our schools are willing to get back to the University Center. So as of today, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Jingo, my question is, we know that because of the pandemic, then our ceremonies were different, and carried out different. Will we be going back, are we planning to go back to our traditional?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. That is our plan, and with the COVID and so forth, if it cooperates with us, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And not on Saturday this time?
No, ma'am, none on Saturday this time.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that.
Question. Mr. Jenko, was it the schools that, Independence and AMEET that asked to use the Florida Parishes arena, or was that something, or how did that come about?
No, sir. Every school had the opportunity to use Southeastern, the University Center. The three, Independence, AMEET, and Kentwood. Obviously, Kentwood traditionally uses the gym. Independence High and AMEET High wanted to use the arena instead of the University Center. Yes, sir.
I think part of that probably is it assists families with transportation, I think, is part of the rationale on that one. And we preferred the arena over the football fields because of when you have a situation of rain, and also for safety reasons, it's much easier to secure things in the arena than it is on an open football field.
Are we going to limit the number of people that we're going to allow to participate? We're going to go just full house if full house is what?
As of right now, yes, sir. If the University Center allows us to fill it up, and Ponchatoula High and Hammond High can fill it up, we hope it's filled up for their graduations to honor those students. Yes, sir.
Okay. And what about mask mandates? Are we placing any restrictions?
We will follow all guidelines, whatever those guidelines are.
Whatever the guidelines are in May 2022.
I'm asking the question for, just so that we can.
Right, yes, sir. And, as we get closer to that time, if the mandates change from what they are right now, we will make sure that is put out on the school's webpage, the district's webpage, website, et cetera, to get that information out to the parents.
Right. It's just going to be flexible.
It's a long time from now.
All right, that's it. Call for a vote, Ms. Cindy.
Voting is open. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Moving on to B, consider approval of the resolution recognizing October 18th through the 22nd as School Bus Safety Week. Mr. Muse?
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I know everybody is aware that this is actually National School Bus Week, Safety Week. And so our team is doing some things around the parish with just raising the awareness with our drivers and with students, talking about some major subjects around safety, such as universal crossing signal, railroad crossings, bus rules, things like that. And so with that, we're asking that the board would consider the approval of this resolution recognizing this week the 18th through the 22nd as School Bus Safety Week. I can read through the resolution if you'd like. Okay. Whereas yellow school buses are the safest possible vehicles for children whose homes are far from school, requiring transportation according to state and national data. And whereas the local community is committed to providing a safe, crash-free environment for the public school bus riders in Louisiana who travel daily on our roadways. And whereas the exemplary safety performance exhibited each day by our school bus operators on the roadways of Louisiana ensures the highest level of safety for our motorists and student riders. And whereas local organizations are encouraged to support student and traffic safety activities associated with National School Bus Safety Week, October 18th through the 22nd, 2021. And whereas motorists must remember to stop when a school bus has stopped with its stop arms extended and red lights flashing. And whereas motorists should continue to be reminded about their role in ensuring the safety of children who are walking, bicycling, and getting off and on the school buses. And whereas during Louisiana School Bus Safety Week, everyone is reminded to keep out a watchful eye for students going to and from school and to take extra precautions around students and school buses.
Right, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the resolution.
Mr. Mingus made a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Westmoreland. Call for a vote, Ms. Cindy?
Ms. Cindy,
Oh, go ahead, Mr.
we need an E on the now therefore be it resolved that Tangipahoa Parish School Board recognizes this year's School Bus Safety Week theme
Okay,
of Be Safe, Know the Danger Zone during the week of October 18th.
okay. Voting is open.
Tom voted yes.
Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously with Mr. Toller not being present.
Vote for the resolution.
Yes.
Sorry. You can't vote for him.
All right, moving on to the superintendent's reports.
Yes, Madam President. In item 6A, I would like to ask the board to consider approval to refer the redistricting process related to the 2020 census to the November 2nd, 2021 Policy Committee meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Mingus, second by Mr. Duncan.
Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yes, so, as we all know, based on the census information, it's that time that we relook at our districting lines that we have, and I would like to refer it over to our policy committee to do it through policy. All of our board members are on the policy committee. I think that by the time it goes through policy, it's usually about 2 weeks before it goes through to the board for approval. So it allows time for the public to review and look at that information, provide public input in the process. And so I just make the recommendation that we put that process through the policy committee for public input and until we get to the final product.
So when November 2nd gets here, we'll see some kind of plan for us to vote on?
Well,
I can do it.
excuse me.
Mr. Garrett and his company, Strategic Demographics, will be at the November 2nd meeting to present the timeline. It's really just going to be a starting process. We eventually will have to declare that our current districts aren't in alignment, and then we would then his company would meet with each one of y'all individually, and then propose possible changes to the alignment to make them aligned, and then it would come back to the board, probably back in somewhere around March for final approval. This is going to be a process that will take some time.
Yeah. Sorry, Mr. Bush. It's a process.
Mr. Schnellbaum, let me ask a question. So, the current information that we have, right, to consider for redistricting, who has put that process together so far?
The strategic, our consultant, Strategic Demographics, and Mr. Danny Garrett. He'll present that to y'all on November 2nd. He
Okay,
has
so
the data from the census. He'll present that information, kind of show you where, which district is not 1/9 equivalent, and then he'll tell you the process and timeline that he will meet with each one of y'all and work with y'all to develop a plan that is an agreement.
Okay. So what we're asking for right now?
Is to refer it to the November, he could not make tonight's meeting, so we're referring it to the policy committee. He'll be here on November 2nd. He'll go over the timeline and explain the process, and then it will come back to the board in November before Thanksgiving for the board to approve declaring that the current attendance zones don't meet the requirement, equally divided membership of the parish, and then the process will begin December, January, where he'll meet with each one of y'all to develop a plan that does comply with what the Justice Department would allow. And then it would come back to the board sometime I'm giving him most of what he's planning to do. This is how I understand it. Sometime back in March before the board to be fully approved. So this is a process that will take some time, a lot of discussion with each member on the board.
Mr. Duncan?
Just wanted to provide the board with some historical context. You know, the last time we went through this process, it was essentially we had a regular board meeting where we hired Mr. Garrett's company. Then it came back for a regular board meeting where we said, yep, we need to do some redistricting. And then the next step was it popped right back on to a regular board meeting where we approved the maps with all of the new districts. The thought process in referring it to committee was that this time around, we wanted to try to make sure we had a much more transparent process, an opportunity for the board to meet in a more informal environment, to talk about what we're doing, what we're planning to do. And then, of course, also, we know that there are some people in the community that want to provide input and meet with us about what our intentions are. So, at least in my view, a committee meeting is a better way to do that. And so, I think this would be a good way to kind of check all of those boxes and make sure that we're trying to give the public as much opportunity as possible to provide input.
Ms. Dominguez?
And technically, it is part of the policy manual, first section, first thing in the policy manual.
Exactly. Yes. It's part of our policy. So basically, Mr. Moore, it's just getting the ball rolling. It's getting us where we need to be because it's going to be a long process. So we have to put it before our policy committee before we can get the ball rolling.
A question.
Yes, ma'am.
So at the policy committee meeting in November is when the public will get to come and ask questions then or later?
Well, every time that every time that it is on a policy committee meeting while we're working through this process, we will have opportunities for the public to provide input. I think the November 2nd meeting is really going to be, again, just kind of introducing the census data that Mr. Garrett has collected for us, looking at that data, initially, looking at the process that we want to adopt in working through this, working through all of this. And then I think we would have a resolution that we would need to refer to the board where we initiate, the fact that we do have districts that are out of line and that we need to redraw some lines.
So the public input would be at this meeting and other meetings?
And other meetings,
Afterwards.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, so we would give every time we do anything I think important in this process, we ought to have a meeting in the public where we're talking about what we're doing and give the public an opportunity to provide input on what it is we intend to do.
So Ms. Stilley will advertise in the paper that
Oh,
they'll
yeah.
have that chance?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
What we will be doing at the November 2nd meeting is hearing,
So Mr. Garrett will come on the November 2nd meeting. He will present some of the stuff that he presented to us at retreat. He'll do that in a public forum for the benefit of the public. But then the things that will be new for us as a board is he does have the data from the census, where he will be presenting some of those initial data findings, and I think specifically what districts are, out of line as far as their numbers are concerned. And then, of course, he'll be available to answer any questions that the board has.
All right. Ms. Cindy?
Voting is open. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Ms. Stilley, do we have any other updates?
Yeah, I have just one quick update. Ms. Jenkins, if you could pull up the website real quick and click on the district tab, if you would, who we are, just real quick. As some of you may know, last week was the 125th anniversary of our school system. And I'll let you know that Miss Cindy Jenkins has the very first minute book upstairs in her office. The very first meeting of our board, which was in October 3rd of 1896. It was handwritten. There was some very interesting things in there that I found, like funny that third grade teachers had different salaries, a monthly salary than a second grade teacher. And a first grade teacher, I didn't understand the rationale behind that, but I'm sure there was a reason. But each grade level had like a different salary at some point in the book I was reading. But it was interesting to read the history in the early years. We put some of the beginning minutes on our website for the public to see. I just wanted to share that. Cindy, if you go back up to the construction where it says our district, and the construction plan, we added this feature, really your tax dollars at work. We want to be able to keep our public updated on how their tax dollars are being spent to improve and expand our campuses. For the right now, we only have our phase one, some of our phase one projects. I think we're missing one or two on here, but we just started this. We're gonna be adding, like we have the plans, we'll do the groundbreaking photo. We wanna do updates of pictures as we go along of the addition. As we, do any major improvements or expansions to our campuses, we wanna be able to add this on there so that our public can go and find and stay updated on what we're doing to our campuses across the parish to see, just, stay up to date with what's happening in terms of the physical plants. So I just wanted to show you that piece tonight. Thank you, Ms. Jenkins. We're in the early stages of doing it, though, so it'll get better. Thank you.
That's it, Ms. Stilley?
Yep.
All right. Are we going to do personal privileges? Start down with Mr. Bush?
I'm good.
You good? Okay. Miss Sandra?
I just want to thank those involved in tonight and having Ms. Cotton do the national anthem. It was very meaningful and brought back wonderful memories of her voice, and I'll never forget when she sang here. also at our board meeting for the national anthem. It was just so powerful. I appreciate that.
Mr. Duncan?
Wanted to congratulate Ponchatoula High School's football team. They were ranked number 3 in the Times-Picayune's power rankings today, and I noticed that and thought of Mr. Bush.
Number 1.
They're really number, because the other 2 were private schools. Right, so amongst the public schools, they are number 1. So congratulations to them. They really are having a great season. They have a great young man quarterback in the team this year.
He's super guy.
And just, I thought that was really great to.
Ed's our head baseball coach too.
Okay.
Had a good pick there.
Yeah. But anyway, that was it.
And let me just congratulate the Sumner Middle School Cowboys.
That was a preemptive strike. You were trying to keep me from saying
And
it.
we appreciate that picture on the school board too, Mr. President.
I got it pulled up.
Ms. Janice?
I just want to say thank you to Dr. Hurst for your 10-plus years of service.
Say goodbye to Dr. Hurst.
We love you. And the Department of Education is going to have an asset, and I just don't know if you should keep your phone number the same, because we will be calling.
He already told me he's not changing his phone number.
That's right.
He might after a while.
Mr. Westmoreland?
Yes, ditto to that. Congratulations, Dr. Hurst, on your next move. And I think you'll be great there, and I think you got great things to come. It's a pleasure working with you.
Mr. Toller?
Yeah, I just reiterate that 38-0. Mr. Bush didn't say the score. But in all seriousness, though, once again, I'm reminded how important football is. Ms. Dilley forwarded us a letter from a parent from an away team outside of our parish to compliment, and it was a Sumner football game, but to compliment the players, the coaches, and the entire atmosphere. So when we go back and forth and we're laughing and picking about Ponchatoula versus Sumner or Hammond or whatever, these are still great fields of learning, regardless of the score and regardless of anything. These kids are learning, and these parents were putting on a good product, and people are appreciating it and taking the time to send us letters of encouragement. So for that, I just want to say thank you to that. That's
Mr.
it.
Mingus?
I just wanted to say a little bit about the groundbreaking yesterday. It's fun, it's exciting to know we're moving forward. Want to thank Mr. Schnottelbach and also wish you a happy birthday. We have
30?
There's been a lot of work into every one of these projects, and it takes a lot of hours, well above what their normal job description is. So thank you for the department and all the, the people that are working on that, and it was a joy to be able to start that yesterday, and I'm looking forward to all those new classrooms to put all of these children in. And also, Mr. Hurst, good luck to you, and you may end up wanting to change your phone number after a while. You may get people calling you, but good luck to you.
Mr. Moore?
Yeah, well, I first want to congratulate you, Dr. Hurst. I most certainly appreciate the improvements you've been trying to, install, especially those referring to the social emotional. Can you hear me? Okay, those social emotional, which of course is a pet peeve of mine. I am concerned a great deal about all the students in the parish, each and every one of them, but especially for those who are suffering the most and who need those changes that you've been trying to install. I appreciate us going from zero tolerance to compassion, and hopefully we can continue to adopt that. I know that Ms. Dilley is going to have one heck of a time trying to replace you. And so I'm praying for you, Ms. Dilley. And there are several things that I have, reservations about, concerning that. But I'm hoping that we can work all those things out. And I would just like to say that sometimes a person who has the highest qualifications is not the best person for the job, because to do what it is that you do, that you've been doing, requires a personage, right? A person who loves these kids and put them first and know that that's why we're all here. And so my concerns for replacing you, would definitely reflect that. But I know that Ms. Tilley has, will consider, all those things besides just educational and longevity criteria or credentials, and look into finding a person who actually is going to care about our children and fill that spot.
Ms. Tilley?
Dr. Hurst came in my office this afternoon, and he said, I just have a few more days. I said, is that why you had that big old smile on your face? But, we're going to miss Dr. Hurst. We've worked well together the past 3 years, and the whole team, all of us. And, we're all different, and that's what a team is. Sometimes you don't always see things the same way, and sometimes you see things differently, and we have different perspectives, but we respect each other's opinions and value our contributions to the team. And we feel safe to say our opinions, and that's really what a good functioning team does. And so we are going to miss you, and don't forget about us here in Tangi, especially when y'all have pilot grant programs and things like that you're looking for a great district to pilot something. We're always ready to try those things and advance and be ahead of all the other districts in terms of innovation. So, and we're here for you. If you ever need anything, just, you can always call me. And I've been on that side too and worked with the state, and so it's a great opportunity. You get to meet a lot of people, make a lot of networks, a lot of school districts. You see the good, the bad, the ugly, and you meet a lot of great people, and it'll grow professionally. So we wish you all the best, and thank you for all that you've done here in Tangipahoa Parish for our children. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, I guess I can't say much more than what everybody else has said. I've always been a fan of yours since I've been on the board, and we wish you the best of luck. We still owe you a fishing trip at our camp. What a wonderful weekend we had in Tangipahoa Parish. We had an awesome air show. The Tangipahoa Parish Fair did amazing. We had the wine and art stool in Ponchatoula. We had a great, great weekend. It was beautiful weather. People are starting to do things, getting back to normal. So hopefully we're moving in the right direction, and everybody can start kind of getting a little sigh of relief here. But now we're going to move on to our executive session. Mr. Duncan?
Move to enter executive session to consider the cases of Dana Calhoun versus the Tangipahoa Parish School System and Cordell Primus versus Tangipahoa Parish School System.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Duncan, second by Mr. Westmore.
Channel 17, proudly serving the Florida parishes.
Back to order. Mr. Duncan?
The matter of Dana Calhoun versus Tangipahoa Parish School System.
And Cordell?
Well, we're doing one at a time.
Okay.
I move to adopt council's recommendation.
Second.
I was just trying to give them some time to walk in the room.
Mr. Duncan makes a motion, second by Mr. Bush.
Voting is open.
Yes.
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 Okay, everybody votes yes. Okay,
And the
voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
matter of Cordell Primus versus Tangipahoa Parish School System, move to adopt council's recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Duncan, second by Mr. Westmoreland.
Voting is open.
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody
Yes.
votes yes.
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 Yes. I think I'm the only one with my computer still up.
I got mine up.
I'm disconnected.
Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
All right, if nothing more,
There's no
What?
public input.
no public input, meeting adjourned.